What would it have felt like to be in the same room with the resurrected Jesus? This painting, Kitchen Maid with Supper at Emmaus by Diego Velázquez, helps us imagine that experience. Diego Velázquez was a Spanish painter and court artist to King Philip IV. He lived from 1599 to 1660 and was considered one of the greatest Spanish artists and a leader of the Baroque movement. This is his self-portrait. He painted this one, Christ in the House of Mary and Martha, in 1616, and it now hangs in the National Gallery of London. At this time, Velázquez was experimenting with bodegones, which are paintings set in taverns or kitchens, frequently used to relate scenes of contemporary Spain to themes and stories from the Bible. So let's set the scene for the painting that we are looking at today, Kitchen Maid with Supper at Emmaus. As told in Luke 24:13-35, two followers of Jesus were walking and talking their way to Emmaus. While they discussed all that had happened, Jesus himself came near and went with them. He accompanied them all the way to Emmaus, interpreting to them the things about himself in all the scriptures, and yet they didn't recognize him. Verses 28-31 continue the story. They came to the edge of the village where they were headed. He acted as if he were going on, but they pressed him. "Stay and have supper with us. It's nearly evening. The day is done." So he went in with them. And here's what happened. He sat down at the table with them. Taking the bread, he blessed and broke and gave it to them. At that moment, open-eyed, wide-eyed, they recognized him. And then he disappeared. Back and forth they talked. Didn't we feel on fire as he conversed with us on the road, as he opened up the scriptures for us? This painting is the Supper at Emmaus, which he painted in 1620, and it's now held at the Met. Velázquez painted two versions of this scene, the Kitchen Maid. One hangs at the Art Institute of Chicago, and the other is at the National Gallery of Ireland in Dublin. Originally, both paintings showed only the Maid. Then, during a restoration in 1933 on the painting that now hangs in Dublin, something amazing happened. The background scene of the dinner between Jesus and the two disciples was revealed. The true focal point of this painting, however, is the servant girl in the foreground. Her tilted head and sidelong gaze suggest she is listening closely as she works among the pitchers and the dishes. Velázquez depicts this servant as a young black woman, likely a North African Muslim, a Moor. In 17th century Spain, Moors were often marginalized, so she would have known exclusion because of her race, religion, gender, and social class. I like to use a three-step framework to prayerfully reflect on paintings, and I wanted to share that with you. It is look, linger, and listen. I will lead us through each step, pausing between for reflection. So first, look. What first catches your eye? What do you notice about the young woman's face and expression? What do you notice about her hands? And what about the scene in the background? What do you think is happening here? Step 2 is linger. Linger with some of the details that first caught your eye. What emotions do you see reflected on the woman's face? And are there any emotions that emerge for you as you gaze at the painting? And does this scene evoke any memories for you? And step 3 is listen. First of all, imagine her listening to the words of Jesus. Was she wondering if they were for her too? Do you think this was the first time she had heard the good news of the gospel of Jesus? Or had she previously encountered him? And what do you think happened next in her story? Do you sense God speaking to you in some way through this painting? In the Bible, Jesus so often revealed himself to people who were considered outsiders at that time: women, slaves and servants, the sick, the poor, the overlooked. This painting and the story behind it invite us to look for Christ's face in unexpected places and among unexpected people. I want to close with this poem by Denise Levertov, The Servant Girl at Emmaus, a painting by Velázquez. Levertov visited this painting in Dublin and was so moved that she wrote this beautiful meditation in response. I invite you to listen or read along on the screen and see her poem as a prayer, a quiet moment of listening for the presence of Christ. She listens, holding her breath. Surely that voice is his, the one who had looked at her once across the crowd, as no one had ever looked, had seen her, had spoken as if to her. Surely those hands were his, taking the platter of bread from hers just now, hands he'd laid on the dying and made them well. Surely that face, the man they'd crucified for sedition and blasphemy, the man whose body disappeared from its tomb, the man it was rumored now some women had seen this morning alive. Those who had brought the stranger home to their table don't recognize yet with whom they sit, but she in the kitchen, absently touching the wine jug she's to take in, a young black servant intently listening, swings round and sees the light around him and is sure.